Welcome to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we dive deep and answer the ultimate question: how did you hack into tech sales? Each week, we bring you inspiring stories, proven strategies, and insider tips from top performers who've cracked the code to break into tech sales and thrive. Whether you're just starting out, making a career pivot, or ready to level up, this is your go-to space for actionable advice and real-world success stories. Let's crack the code together, because hacking into tech sales isn't just a dream, it's your next move. Now with your host, the founder of Tech Sales Funnels and the tech sales hacker himself, Dayvisson Da Silva.
Welcome everyone to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast. This is Dayvisson, the tech sales hacker, your host. And today I'm super excited to bring to the stage Jane Fraiman. She's out of the Bay Area, California. We just had a quick chat right before the recording. Amazing weather out there. So we're going to make this podcast so she can go and enjoy the weather with her family. Jen is a sales coach. She has an amazing career. She's a busy mom. And I just, for everyone listening today to this podcast, I want to bring a different perspective here about even motherhood and how to balance careers and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of listeners who are on that category. So I'm going to bring to the stage now Jen. Hey, Jen, how are you?
I'm great, Dayvisson. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. I know we found each other on LinkedIn, and it was a quick connection. In fact, amazing partnerships and people that I find on LinkedIn all the time,
Totally.
and I'm super grateful that you were able to join here with me today. Is let's start at a very high level. Um, can you tell a little bit about who you are, and then what are you up to these days, and then we're gonna dive deeper into your career and the things you're doing to help the tech sales community.
Yeah, I would love to. And thanks again so much for having me. Part of my background, if there's anything going on, my husband is making a smoothie in the background. So there's
Nice.
work from home life. But my name is Jen Fraiman, and I'm a California girl. I was born and raised in California, and I started my career at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I did their management training program, and I discovered through selling upgrades into SUVs and car rental insurance that I really love sales, and I had this knack for it. Every time I would go out and rent a car, I'd always be like trying to sell the extra insurance. And then if I did, I would get like on the leaderboard, and like, I really love that leaderboard. So being in the Bay Area, I decided, okay, where's the best place to go and sell there I can really, make a good living, and decided to go into tech sales. I got a job at Salesforce.com. Famous thing, recruiter told me, at
Mm.
Google, the engineers are the kings and queens. At Salesforce, the salespeople are. And so I said, that's where I want to go. I want to go where salespeople are celebrated and rewarded. So I started at an entry-level sales position there. I was there for over a decade, and I moved up from SMB to mid-market, commercial, and then enterprise. So I sold across all the different segments until the pandemic hit. I had
Mhm.
very small kids. I had a 1-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and it was just crazy. My husband's an entrepreneur, and I was in tech sales, and it was just crazy. And we decided, you know what? After 20 years in sales, I'm gonna take a step back. Going to focus on my family and my babies. So I took about 2.5 years. I just was a full-time mom. It was awesome. And when my kids went back into elementary school, I said, you know what? It's time to kind of get in the mix again. But I wanted to have more flexibility. I wanted to do my own thing. And I love public speaking. I love being on stage. I was in theater growing up. And so I had started doing like some just freelance gigs, of doing some public speaking. And I thought, how can I combine my love of public speaking and this like sales career that I have and sales experience? And so sales training and coaching was just like this
Mm.
obvious choice. And so that's what I'm doing now, and really loving it.
Wow. So do you feel that's an amazing like story? Like, do you feel like a lot of people talk about Ikigai and like doing something that you're passionate about, it, that you love, you get paid for. Is that, do you feel like you're really close to that? Like how, to what do you do now?
I do. I do. Uh, it's funny. It's like who like grows up being like, I want to be a salesperson, or better yet, I want to
Mm,
train salespeople. But there's just, for me, I love connecting with people. I love human interactions, and just like getting to like to the level. I actually have this like silly phrase my friends and I coined in college called a D&M. So it stands for
mm.
deep and meaningful. So
Okay.
a D&M is sort of like when you meet someone and you start chatting, and before you know it, like, you're like being vulnerable and you're being honest and you're sharing stories and connecting. And it's like, you suddenly, it's like, did we just become best friends? It's like a line from a movie or something. But I love that. I love that human interaction and connection. And that's like really all sales is. It's just like building
Hmm.
relationships, building trust, and, you know, being consultative. So I really do like it. And the pay is good. I live in California, it costs a lot. So if you're gonna make a living off communication and relationship building, might as well get paid for it. So
Yeah, it is hard to compare tech sales to any other, I mean, career, right? Like
yeah,
for the potential income you can make,
yeah,
it's almost, you have to be a doctor or like an attorney or
yeah,
something like
yeah.
high level, right?
And what's funny is my mom was an elementary school teacher. And actually,
Mm,
it's funny, when I grew up, it's like she loved being an elementary school teacher. She did it for like 30 years. But, when I was growing up, she would always say to me, never be a teacher. She'd say,
mm.
I love, because you don't make any money. And she would say, I love what I do,
Interesting.
but it's like, it's very hard to make an income. So I guess I went the opposite direction. That her advice really stuck.
Interesting, interesting. Now you're teaching. You're basically
That's
helping,
true. That's true.
right?
Da-da-da-da.
Tech sellers.
I've come full circle, so now I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did. You did. Now that's really interesting because tech sales, I feel like, is one of the best careers out there. At the same time, it can be one of the most challenging,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of ups and downs. And one of the biggest challenges is training and what is my brain today is not working really well, but
Okay.
sales enablement.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
word. And then,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure you do a lot of that. Can you tell a little bit more exactly what you do to help tech sellers?
Sure, I'd love to. So, I sell and train a program that I took when I was in tech sales. So, I told you I was at Salesforce for over a decade, and we took a sales training program called Sandler, and it's a
Sandler.
selling methodology that's psychology backed, and it's all about no pressure sales, building trust and rapport. And there's a whole system that it kind of takes you through
Hmm.
through every step of the sales cycle. So from like those beginning conversations all the way through like the discovery, presenting, negotiation, and handling objections to close. So it's kind of the full sales cycle. So I took this training early on in my tech sales career from an incredible trainer, someone who was like really great on stage, really great with people.
Hmm.
And I just never forgot it. It really stuck. It really resonated with me. So I used that system for 10 years. I was really successful. I hit my number almost every single year. So it
Wow.
really worked for me. And so that is now the same training that I sell and deliver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you like do you deliver for them? Is like an independent license? Is
Yeah.
that something, how
Yeah.
that works for you?
Yeah, so I have my own coaching practice, and then I'm an independent contractor for the Sandler Enterprise team. So
Okay.
I specifically work with B2B companies, mostly in SaaS and tech. That's why I have this like name
Hmm.
on LinkedIn, the Sassy Sales Coach, right? Because I am sassy for SaaS.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I decided rather than, trying to create my own content out of thin air and go market little old me, just one person, I thought I wanted to sort of hitch my wagon to a trusted brand that had been around in the industry for a long time and represent them. And so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's like I have this like reputation and backbone of this solid company, but then I also have my own freedom and flexibility, which is really important to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Um, Most of your clients are local, the Bay Area, the international,
Yeah.
the
It can be anywhere. They can be anywhere. The Bay Area is where I'm based, and there's a lot of tech out here. So a lot of my network and the companies I work with are in the Bay Area, but I also have companies in in Austin and New York, kind of all over. And typically, a company will come to me and say, their sales leaders or their enablement leaders will come and say, "Hey, we're frustrated. We missed our revenue targets, or our
Mm,
salespeople aren't performing, and they just need to level up their sales skills. They need confidence in selling, and they need some skills and tactics." So I'll come in and we'll do either a 2-day boot camp, or we'll do a couple half-day workshops, or we can do everything virtual and do like 90-minute virtual calls. So flexible on the delivery, and I teach them the whole system. And then the most important part is
yes.
practice. So
Mm,
after we do the initial training, then we do reinforcement coaching sessions where I'll be with them and I'll say, like, what's going on? Like, tell me a sales scenario that you are working on right now, like a real deal, and we'll chat through it and we'll riff on what's going on, and then I'll give them ideas on how to get their deal done using these techniques that I taught them in the training. So that's the most important
wow.
part. If you just do the training and then you never think about it again, you'll lose everything. So the most important
Mm,
part is coming back and reinforcing it, week after week after week for, up to 18 months or even several years. The more that you practice it, the more that it sticks. So that's like really the secret sauce is the practice and the reinforcement.
I love that. And I remember as a seller, I have been out of the field for about a year, but we got bombarded by a lot of training,
Yeah.
either product training,
Yeah.
sales training,
Yeah.
industry training. Is there any recommendations that you can give for someone who's trying to ramp up their game? Where do we start? Like, let's say if the organization is not providing the proper training, or you know that happens, right? A lot
It
of times,
does.
and a
Yeah.
lot of sellers, they want to do better. Do
Yep.
you have any recommendation?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of it depends on how self-motivated you are, right? There's like a lot
Mhm.
of like books and YouTubes and all kinds of things. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so if you follow me on LinkedIn, I post different tips and tricks several times a week. So you can follow me there. But my biggest recommendation is you got to ask for it, right? And I'm
Mhm.
finding actually exactly what you said. A lot of sellers and even sales leaders that I talk to are saying, like, our company provides all kinds of product training, right? Products, features, functions, but not really that like core sales training, which is really like the people development.
Mm,
And so I encourage sellers to ask for that training and say, "Hey, we really need this. We want this. It's going to help us get better." Because the most successful organizations is when it's kind of mandated from the top down. The senior leadership says, "We're making this investment. We're going to level up our people. It's going to help us close more business. Everyone wins, and it's really driven from the top down." So I don't typically work with one-on-one coaching with sellers because I find I can make the biggest impact if we start at the top and we go out through the entire organization so that everyone's speaking the same language is when it's the most successful.
I love that. I was thinking about your role, like you get called to basically, give some fire, get people excited and ready to get move on.
Yep.
Um, when you get called, like maybe one of your trainees maybe can look back, like a team that was not performing, right? Which
Mm.
mostly it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Or one individual. How do you think it's a lot of the mindset that's not working? Do you think like just the lack of skills, the training in general? Like, what have you seen, and how did you like uh how do you go about, like, do you do like an assessment first? How do the
Mhm.
seller, maybe I'm trying to understand how
Yeah,
you process and how you can help those sellers who are not
yeah.
performing.
Oh, you're asking great questions. You're asking great questions. So the very first thing I do when I go into an organization is we do a talent and competency assessment. So
Okay.
everyone who's going to go through the training does this like 45-minute assessment where there's all these different scenarios and
Mm,
around selling and around like your personality and your motivations. You answer all these questions and it will spit back results from that assessment, so we can see, oh wow, your sales team is really great at prospecting, but then they're not so great at closing, or
mm,
negotiation skills are fantastic but they're leaving money on the table because they're not doing good discovery. So the first thing is I need data. I need to see
mm.
where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are. Then we figure out where we're going to focus.
Interesting.
And so
Okay.
we design the training around that so that we can applaud the things that folks are doing well and then improve the things that are not so good. And then we always start the training with what we call this, it's called the success triangle. And so there's kind of three sides to this triangle. So there's your
Mm,
attitude, your beliefs, and then your skills. Okay.
okay.
So this is all about just having the right mindset as a seller, like coming in and being like, I'm a professional. I have every right to be here. My time is valuable,
Mm.
just like my prospect. Because sometimes as salespeople, we're like, like golden retrievers, like, what can I do for you? Mr. Prospect or Mrs. Prospect. And they like throw this tennis ball. There's a throw the tennis ball and then we go get it. We come it back.
Yeah.
So it's like, give me
Interesting.
pricing, throw the tennis ball. I'll go get it. Here's your pricing for you.
Mm,
And it's like, no, 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 no. There's this concept we call equal business stature, which is like, just because I'm the salesperson and I'm trying to
mm.
buy something, that doesn't mean that like I'm below you. Like we're both equal. And so just having that confidence and
Love that.
mindset as you get started when you're going into these calls, like having that confidence. So that's the first thing I teach. And it also kind of has to do with like, you're more than just your profession. So if you lose a deal, if someone doesn't want to do business with you, that doesn't mean like you're a failure. Like don't let that come into your personal
Mm,
life,
love
right?
it.
As a mother, as a spouse, as a friend, like there is worth in who you are beyond just your pipeline or your revenue that you've closed. So that's kind of that whole
Mm,
part. And then the technique, right? That's where I come in. That's where it's like, okay, we're going to teach you the technique so that when you do come to the table, when you are at that meeting, you've got all the tools that you need to successfully close. And it might not be a good fit, but you had all those tools. You used all your tools that you could to close the deal. And if it didn't close, it's just that it's maybe it's just not a right fit. And
not
so
meant to be.
associating who you are and your abilities
Mm,
and
wow.
doing those.
I love that. As you were speaking, I was thinking about actually the job search process that
Yeah.
so I coach on the other side. I coach people how to get jobs, right? And then it's almost the same process. Like if you get a no, it doesn't mean maybe it's not the right timing, or it's, you don't take it personal. It's just like a sales. You're just selling yourself.
Yeah.
I totally resonate with that one.
Yep.
The do you ever feel like because you do a lot of training and I'm pretty sure you try to measure the results of the training after like maybe a month or six. Is there any case that you try to train a team or as an individual and it just didn't click, like they it just maybe almost was they're not meant to be on that position or be that
Mhm.
seller?
Yeah.
Did you come up with that conclusion? Because as a coach, I'm always like, I just want to help. I
Yeah.
know you have the potential, but there's sometimes like, that person's just not ready.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke and be like, "No, not when you train with me, it's always successful."
I
But
love it.
okay, so a couple of things. So number one, I just want to bring back this concept of the assessment, right? How I said in the beginning, we use the data to see where the strengths and weaknesses are. Well, then there's this point where you reassess later, and then you
Mm,
say, how did it go? Did we make measurable improvements? So that's really important. Okay, so that's kind of how you can gauge how the training went. But what's also cool about these assessments is remember I said it's talent and competency. So your competency is all stuff you can teach them, but kind of like the talents part, that's a little bit like who you are as a person and how you're motivated. And some people are just not, it's just kind of not a right fit for them. And so what's cool is that assessment can almost tell you that. And a
Mm,
lot of companies even will use these type of assessments for hiring people and say like,
mm,
do you kind of have the innate things that like you can't really teach? Do you have those present that you'll be a good fit in the role, you know? Because people sometimes they think I'm going to try this because I want to make a lot of money and it seems like I can do
yeah.
it here, but then it's not a good fit. And so sometimes you just have to have those maybe it's like a little bit of a DNM, a deep and meaningful with
Mm,
yourself, right? And say, is this really making me happy? And a lot of times it's like if you're not successful, you're not happy and maybe you make a shift.
oh yeah, that's why I asked that question, because I wanted to hear from you, because and that can happen, right?
It can.
They might not be.
Yep. But also like, gosh, we've all had bad years. I remember this one year at
Mm,
Salesforce. Oh gosh, I had just come back from maternity leave, right? So I had a 6-month-old baby at home. And I had this account that was a big logo, a really big account, and they weren't buying anything. And my job was to upsell and cross sell, and I had a big quota, and they just weren't buying, and their company was not in a good place, and whatever. It's just not important, all the details. But I had this sales leader, and I kind of said, "What do I do? Like, I feel like, am I not good at my job? Like,
mm,
what? This just I'm not, there's no way I'm going to hit quota. I'm not doing great. I had this new baby. I'm a new mom. I was just like this
mm,
existential crisis." And he says to me, he goes, I was in this position too at one point in my career. And you know what? I got really good at golf.
mm,
Like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, I played a lot of golf that year. Meaning, sometimes you're just going to be in a
mm,
situation where like the chips fall, that like you might have a tough territory or a customer that is just not in a position to buy. And you might just have to like wait it out. And so he was kind of like, enjoy some free time, spend time with your
mm,
baby. It's okay. It's just you can't crush it 24/7. So just chill. And
mm,
I was like, I think my boss just told me I don't have to work that hard. I
mm.
didn't really know. And actually that was the worst year I ever had. I did not make quota, but like my whole leadership kind of knew. They're like, yeah, she's got like that. Mhm.
Oh man, it's
Year,
hard.
yeah, the next year I got some new accounts and like things started to move again, and I had a great year after that. But it's like this. There are peaks and valleys in sales, and
Mm,
you got it. When you're at the highs, you're making money, you got your mojo, it's great. And then sometimes you have the lows, and sometimes it's not you, and you just ride it out, just ride it, and just know it's going to go back up. And so you
mm.
can't, that's why I said that mindset. You can't be like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible, and like leave the profession.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just gotta get good at golf or whatever it may be.
interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. I remember that analogy. Because we all need it, and
Yeah,
it can be super stressful sometimes. Like I
totally.
said at the beginning, like it's a high risk, high return, ups and downs, as a roller coaster.
Yep.
Textiles, and it's exciting. I love it.
Yep. Yep.
It's
My mom, another thing she would say to me, no guts, no glory.
mm,
It's like it is a risk. It is high risk, high reward, but so it takes a certain type of character. Like my husband he's a serial entrepreneur. He's had 5 startups, 5.
oh wow.
And our thing that we always say, I'm a big company girl. And so we always say, I'm the meal ticket, he's the lottery ticket, right? And we have not won the lottery yet. I'm waiting.
Okay,
I'm
it's
waiting, but
coming.
like his appetite for risk is just like so much higher than mine. And even though, some people, in other professions might be like, wow, you're in sales, that's risky. I'm like, it's nothing compared to being a startup founder. So yeah,
Interesting.
you have to have a certain appetite for that, and be able to kind of like ride these waves. Yeah, like I said.
Yeah, I agree. So as a sales coach on this new era of AI and all those things,
Oh,
of course he's gonna come, right? I'm gonna ask,
yeah.
like, what kind of changes have you seen implemented even in the Sandler. Like, I don't know if, because I know it's based on principles, and
Yeah.
principles are, never change, but maybe they're trying to adapt here and there, how they teach the new sellers. Or
Yep.
what have you seen that's different from maybe 10 years ago when when you first started at Salesforce?
Totally. Great question. Everybody's so hot on AI. It always comes up, and
Mhm.
I have a strong point of view about this, because here's the thing: I also hear sellers and leaders saying is there are so many amazing technology tools to help us do our jobs better, right? And so
Mhm.
sellers have so many tools, but at the end of the day, it's still a human to human interaction. You are
Yes.
still talking to another human being, building trust, communicating effectively, and AI just can't replace that. Like, that's,
No.
they say
Yeah.
that sales is like both art and science. And it's like the science part has gotten great because we have so much data and so many things to help us, but there's still that art form of communicating with a human being. Like, that's not going
Mhm.
away. Like, thank goodness the humans aren't being like completely replaced. And the way I think of AI is like, I use AI all day, every day. I freakishly love it. And it
Mhm.
helps me be more productive. But
Yeah.
and that leaves me room to be more creative and use my brain to be more creative. And
Yes.
so I just think of AI as just like, supersizing everything that we do and making us more effective. But we still need a human interaction. And so that's the part where I come in. Like, here's an example. I said to you, the way that sales training sticks is that reinforcement, that practice. And
Mm.
what we used to have to do for that reinforcement was role play. So, Dayvisson, you're my manager. I just took Sandler sales training or whatever sales training, learn all these skills. And then you and me
Mm.
get in a room and role play and practice. And you listen to me, you give me feedback. Well, that takes a lot of time and energy from
Yeah.
two people, right? Guess what
Yeah.
we have now? AI
Yeah.
role play. So suddenly I
Yeah.
can now do a role play virtually on my computer. I'm like, I've got this big meeting. I'm going to do my virtual presentation on this with an AI role play, and they're going to give that role play. That AI bot is going to give me feedback on my tone, on my presentation, on my skills, and so that is something that's made sales training like so much more sticky and effective. And
Mhm.
it's taken part of the human element out that's wasting our time. It's making us more productive. And so I see it as a help, not a hindrance. Yeah.
Can even be even more effective. Maybe your manager at the end of the day doing role play, he's tired and he's
Yep.
just like he's
Yep.
just not present, and the AI can give a real
Exactly.
life
Yeah.
feedback.
Yep.
I
Exactly.
love that. You had an amazing career in at Salesforce. Do you have any recommendations for people who are trying to ramp up in their careers? Like they're feeling stuck. What like one piece of advice that really helped you to progress, because you went from early stages to small accounts, enterprise accounts. If you can look back, like piece of advice for tech sellers.
Mm. You know, um, I know this might sound a little bit like cliche, cliche to say like be positive, but really, I always tried to come in with a good attitude. It's like your sales organization, you've got your sales leadership, you've got other sellers, there's a lot of different things happening. And you can be the person who's always complaining and who's always, oh, I have a bad territory, or oh,
Mhm.
this or oh, that, and being negative. Or you can be the person who's like, trying to find like the good in things, mentoring other people, coming with a good attitude, like hustling, and just having that work ethic and that positive mindset, I think makes a
Mm,
huge difference.
yeah.
And also when you do that, you build strong relationships with people and you sort of earn the right to ask for things. So after I had spent some time at Salesforce, I had, some good quarters or good months under my belt, had a good relationship with my manager. Then I felt comfortable saying like, hey, I really like to move up into, the next level into mid-market. Any advice for me? Or would you recommend me? Or,
Mm,
hey, I see that, we're changing territories around and there's like some really good accounts. I would love I would love this account to go to me because, I have X, Y, and Z skills and that kind of thing. So you're almost like just the same way you should ask for the business with your customers. You should ask for that for yourself internally. And it doesn't always mean asking for a raise, right? A raise is like one thing, but a lot of tech companies, there's only so much you can do and there's ranges. So it might not be asking for a raise, but it might be like, recommend me for a promotion, or let me be a leader on the team or a mentor, or like, I would love to take on that account. So just always be advocating for yourself. But if you want to do that, right, you've got to be like that positive hustler, culture builder, not that person who's always like complaining. Cause like those kind of people, they're not gonna like reap those rewards and get to be leaders in the same way.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm not surprised what they record all the time because I can see the energy coming from the screen here, from your voice and your passion. So that I am 100% subscribe to that attitude. To sometimes people call the vibrations, whatever you want to call, but if you have a positive attitude in sales, that's the edge. That's your edge right there. You can have the same skill level, but if your mindset's in the right place, then deals will just happen.
Yeah, it's a relationship business with your customers, with your teammates, with everybody. It's just about relationships. So just focus on that. Yeah.
It's awesome. 30 minutes has passed. We having a great time here. I just want to respect your time and try to close. And that was amazing. By the way, if anybody wants to find out more about you, they just go to your LinkedIn profile. Do you have a website? What's the best way to
check out my
get to
LinkedIn
know the
profile?
sassy girl, the sassy
Sales coach. Check out my LinkedIn profile. My website is jenfraiman.com and it is under construction. I saw that. I am such a procrastinator. I actually have my web designer and it's like halfway built and I owe her feedback. Nice. But what's funny is like my ICP, my ideal customer profile, kind of keeps changing. And so I'm like, well, do I want to lead with this or do I want to offer that? And so like, I just got to get something out there so that like you're more legit when you have a website. And I'm like, oh, it's coming. So it's coming. Maybe you're going to put a fire under me to like actually get it done. It's on my list. You should see, I always have a list. It's my list.
Oh yeah. You got it. I got my list for the day. It's still like 30% done.
So website has like been on the list every week for like, I don't even want to tell you how long. So it's coming, but for now I'm on LinkedIn. I try to post there like almost every day. So I would love for you to follow me, message me, and it's so good. It's so good to have you, Dayvisson. I love that, you're out there helping folks get into tech, break into it, learn all the ropes. So I really appreciate your time and your energy as well.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Jen, for joining today. Everyone, connect with Jen on LinkedIn. That's all for today. Thank you.
That's a wrap. See you later.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we crack the code and uncover the strategies to break into tech sales. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to hack their way into this exciting career. Remember, hacking into tech sales isn't just a goal. It's a mission. Let's keep hacking, learning, and winning together. Catch you next time.